Good evening. 2 years ago, President Trump passed an executive order which requires an investigation into foreign interference in our elections. The report deadline for this investigation is tomorrow, and it looks like China, Iran, and Russia are about to be called out. Now, over in Michigan, the CEO of Dominion revealed that some of his voting machines can be connected to the internet. Over in California, the Trump administration is withholding $200 million worth of funds because of a California law which requires insurance companies to pay for abortion. And over in Facebook land, a new report found that Mark Zuckerberg's $500 million donation to this year's election was unevenly distributed between Democrats and Republicans by a ratio of about 10-1. Let's go through these stories together. This is your 2020 election update, and I'm your host, Roman from the Epic Times. Now, to start with, I want to discuss this executive order that was issued in September of 2018. It says that not later than 45 days after the conclusion of an election, the Director of National Intelligence, in consultation with the heads of any other appropriate executive departments and agencies, shall conduct an assessment of any information indicating that a foreign government has acted with the intent or purpose of interfering in our election. Now, first off, that 45-day mark is fast approaching. It's actually going to be tomorrow, December 18th. And as a prelude to what we can expect, the Director of National Intelligence, a man named John Ratcliffe, said earlier this month that there was foreign election interference by China, Iran, and Russia. And furthermore, earlier this year, he said that the biggest threat to election security in the United States is the Chinese Communist Party. He said that China poses a greater national security threat to the U.S. than any other nation, economically, militarily, and technologically. That includes threats of election influence and interference. Now, that is very interesting because, just as an aside, I want to tell you a little bit about an investigation that we are currently conducting into the Dominion voting system's ownership structure. Because its parent company, the parent company of Dominion, which is a private equity firm called Staple Street Capital Group, they raised funds with the help of a Swiss bank right before the 2020 election. And that transaction, which is actually peculiar in a number of different ways, has led some to speculate that a Chinese entity could be an indirect investor in Dominion voting systems. Now, that's a little bit more complex, and we're still looking into all the details surrounding that deal, but look out for that investigation from us in the coming days. Now, in regards to this executive order, though, the intelligence community said that they will not be able to meet the December 18th deadline. Basically, a number of agencies have said that they have not finished coordinating on the product, meaning the report. Now, we reached out to the Office of the Director of National Intelligence for comment, but I've yet to hear back. However, if you'd like to know what we know thus far about foreign election interference, I'll throw that link in the description box below this video for you to check out prior to this report's release. And while you're down there looking for that link, take a moment to smash that like button. As you already know, videos like this, talking about the election, are routinely censored by big tech. So when you smash that like button, you are forcing the YouTube algorithm to share this video out to potentially thousands of more people, letting the truth be known far and wide. Now let's move over to Nevada. Yesterday, at a hearing over at the U.S. Senate, one of President Trump's lawyers said that when his team was trying to collect evidence for a lawsuit, they were denied access from election officials over in Nevada. Here's what he had to say.
When we attempted to verify the integrity of these voting machines, we were allowed only a useless visual inspection of the outside of a USB drive. We were denied a forensic examination.
Now, the judge in the case dismissed their allegations, saying that the Trump legal team did not prove their allegations under any standard of proof. However, at the hearing, Trump's lawyer said that the campaign did not have enough time to obtain the evidence. He said that we could not put that into evidence because the court ruled that it was too late, saying that they had only about 3 days to procure evidence of irregularities or fraud. Now, 3 days is short, however, they still tried. But as they were doing their probe, he said that they were refused access by state election officials to the code of the voting machines for a forensic review or to check whether they were hooked up to the internet. He said that they were denied transparency at every single turn. Now, I'll throw the links to his comments in the description box below this video if you want to check them out for yourself, but I want to take another moment to focus a bit on what he was saying about the Dominion machines being hooked up to the internet. One thing that I forgot to mention when I was reporting on the Senate hearing with the Dominion CEO a few days ago was that it was revealed by the CEO himself that some of the voting machines can connect to the internet. He said that for the few jurisdictions, less than 1% of our customer base, an external cellular modem is required. Now, such an external modem would actually sit outside of the voting machine itself and allow it to access the internet. Now, the reason that this is interesting is because a Dominion contractor, who was also a poll challenger, told us last month that the voting machines in Detroit were connected to the internet. Now, of course, those claims were rigorously checked by the independent fact checkers of big tech, but now the CEO of Dominion himself said that his machines can be connected to the internet. Now, Dominion's own website claims that its voting systems are meant to be used as closed systems that are not networked, meaning that they're not connected to the internet. Interesting contradiction there. So what exactly is the official reason that they're connected to the internet? Well, according to the Michigan Bureau of Elections, voting machines cannot be connected to the internet during the vote tabulation process. But after counting is finished, some jurisdictions connect the machines to the internet to transmit unofficial results to the county clerk. Now, the CEO of Dominion said that these machines are specifically designed to have the modems be external to allow all poll watchers to easily and readily know whether it is connected. As to how secure they are, I can't make any comments on that. That's up to a forensic analysis to judge. Regardless, this whole story is still developing, but the fact that these machines can be connected to the internet is just another interesting piece of the puzzle. So keep it in mind, and if you'd like to read the full exchange at the hearing about these modems, I'll throw that link in the description box below this video for you to check out. Now, let's head on over to California. Yesterday, in a big win for the pro-life cause, President Trump announced that he is withholding $200 million in Medicaid funding from the state of California. Why? Well, it's in protest of California's mandate, which required all insurance companies to pay for abortions. Now, the writing was on the wall for this decision for a while now. California has been forcing insurance companies to fund abortions all the way back since 2014. So for the past 6 years, all insurance companies there have been required to pay for abortions, even if they conscientiously object. And as early as January of this year, the Trump administration warned California that it was in violation of federal law. And after assessing the situation for a while, at an event at the White House yesterday, the Secretary of the Department of Health said that we have informed California that this policy clearly violates federal conscience laws, but the state refuses to fix the issue and comply. Accordingly, we plan to withhold $200 million in federal Medicaid funds from that state in the first quarter of 2021. And unless California amends its policies, we will seek to withhold an additional $200 million every quarter until it complies. Now, as you can imagine, California's Governor, Gavin Newsom, was not thrilled about this decision. He went on Twitter and denounced it, saying, "Nothing like the pro-life party eliminating healthcare during a global pandemic. California will survive without this money for now, but their frail, pathetic, patriarchal system that they are so desperate to protect, it won't." Well, I can definitely say the man is woke. If you want to read more about this decision by the Trump administration, I'll throw that link in the description box below this video for you to check out. Now, let's talk about Facebook. According to a newly released report, I have it right here in front of me, hundreds of millions of Mark Zuckerberg's dollars were used to violate election laws. This report comes from the Amistad Project of the Thomas More Society, and it alleges that Mark Zuckerberg's donation of $500 million, which was given to election officials, was used to treat voters unequally and improperly influence the election in favor of Joe Biden. Now, we discussed some of the issues present in this report in an earlier episode. If you want to check that out for yourself, I'll throw the link in the top right corner here for you to check out. Now, according to this report, the bulk of Mark Zuckerberg's money went to an organization called the Center for Tech and Civic Life, which is a very benign sounding name to an organization. But what is it exactly? Well, it's a nonprofit that was started by former managers and staff members of the New Organizing Institute, which is a progressive nonprofit. So as you can imagine, most of the people there are likely progressives. Now, according to this report, here's an example of what the center actually did. Earlier this year, they began sending agents into states in order to recruit certain Democrat strongholds to start preparing grants and then requesting money for those grants. For example, the center gave $100,000 to Corey Mason, who is the mayor of Racine, Wisconsin, and they gave him that money in order for him to recruit 4 other cities to develop a plan and request a larger grant for that plan. Those 5 cities then submitted a plan back in June, and they received $6.3 million to implement it. Now, on the surface, you might think, okay, well, whatever. They're just helping out the local election officials, and it's probably maybe even a good thing. But what this really is the privatization of elections in this country. According to this report, this center overwhelmingly helps to develop elections in progressive and Democrat strongholds, meaning that they were overrepresented in those states. I mean, just listen to this. This is exactly from the report. Mark Zuckerberg's funding allowed these Democrat strongholds to spend roughly $47 per voter. That's compared to $4 to $7 per voter in traditionally Republican areas of the state. Now, that is a huge discrepancy, and the big question is this even legal? Well, according to this report, this kind of privatization of elections undermines the Help America Vote Act, which requires state election plans to be submitted to federal officials and approved, and requires respect for equal protection by making all resources available equally to all voters. However, the director behind the group who made this report said it very succinctly. This effectively is a shadow government running our elections. So, in my non-legal opinion, I'm not sure that because the center is not actually a government agency, do they have to comply with this law requiring equal access to all voters? Does the fact that they're a nonprofit contribute to it? I'm not sure. That's really up to actual lawyers to decide. Now, we reached out to the center as well as to Facebook for comment, but have yet to hear back. If you want to read this report yourself, and I would highly recommend that you do, because it has a ton of very concrete examples of how this all played out in real life, I'll throw that link into the description box below this video for you to check out. And lastly, let's head on over to Arizona. The Arizona State Senate announced 2 subpoenas in Maricopa County to audit scanned ballots, voting machines, and software. Now, for a bit of context, Arizona is, of course, one of the states which has dueling electors right now. If you want to know more about what a dueling elector is and how it's all going to play out, we discussed that in yesterday's episode, and I'll throw that link in the top right corner for you to check out. Now, the chair of the Maricopa County...
Why should you choose Middlesex County College? Because of our affordability. Transfer
County Board of Supervisors said that if this kind of an audit shows that the election results were incorrect, it could help convince members of Congress to file objections to Arizona's electoral votes. So what exactly are they going to be examining? Well, according to the president of Arizona Senate, one subpoena calls for a scanned ballot audit to collect an electronic ballot image cast for all mail-in ballots. The second subpoena calls for a full forensic audit of ballot tabulation equipment, the software that was used in that equipment, as well as the election management system that was used in the election. So we'll keep a lookout for developments in this audit in Arizona, and as soon as some emerge, we'll let you know ASAP. If you want to know more about the details of what they're going to be examining over in Arizona, I'll throw those links in the description box below this video for you to check out for yourself. Now, lastly, I want to mention something a bit counterintuitive. In this age of big tech censorship, one of the last places where you can get uncensored information is, ironically, print media. Because even though here on YouTube, we research everything, we try to make everything fact-based, we even put all the links in the description box below this video for you to check out for yourself, we're still routinely censored by big tech. But what they can censor is the printing press. So if you haven't already, I would highly recommend that you try the Epoch Times print newspaper. We deliver to all 50 states, and it's honest news that can be delivered directly to your doorstep. I'll throw that link also in the description box below this video. Lastly, if you haven't already, smash that like button for the YouTube algorithm, subscribe to this channel to get honest news coverage delivered directly to your YouTube feed, and until next time, I'm your host, Roman from the Epoch Times. Stay informed and stay free.